Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome to Monday, Monday of Mercury Retrograde. So we are officially in what's called Mercury Retrograde. So for my friends who may be new to this, Mercury Retrograde is when the planet Mercury in its orbit around the sun appears to go backwards. Now, Mercury is not the only planet that does this. It's an optical illusion. They actually don't go backwards. They just look like they're going backwards, hence the retrograde. So all other planets do this. Now, I'm not entirely sure about Earth, so if that's a question that people are going to spam me with, I don't know. I do know that the other planets do this. They have this optical illusion, which is a man-made event because it's through our eyes. Now, the problem starts that Mercury itself as a planet helps us with our communication, interpersonal relationships, our computers, because it's all down to that connection. As Mercury is, of course, that connector planet, if you will. The energies support us in working with our relationships, working with our tools. And it's on its head in a retrograde, though, we find a disruption. That's why Mercury retrograde is so challenging, because we're at a point of flux where things are harder. Now, it's kind of funny. Many people associate Mercury retrograde with that interpersonal challenge. However, at the same time, because Mercury, that is such a big energy, is in retrograde, well, it's minimized its big energy. And we're able to start to connect in with things that were a less known importance or aren't so predominant in your face, which is super helpful because some of the stuff that we should be looking at isn't screaming at us. It's quietly trying to convey its message. Should we be able to, we can start to listen to those messages so we can use this time to our advantage. So in this reading, I want to look at A, how is it going to impact you? B, how can you use this time to your advantage? And C, of course, what are those challenges going to look like? One of my favorite decks to do a Mercury retrograde reading or a reading with really charged energy is the Wild Unknown Tarot. It's very high contrast and it's got that ability to really cut through some of that energetical yuck and fluff to get to the heart of the matter. And to pair it with something so in contrast, I have the Unicorn Oracle by Diana Cooper. We need this gentle healing energy, especially now, to contrast that Mercury retrograde energy. Now, like always, links below to both these decks. So should they speak to you, you can go check them out for yourselves. But without further ado, let's get into this. What can my friends expect from Mercury retrograde? Okay, have that card. I asked that they don't huck them under the table. It's kind of hard to get a card that's under a table on camera in a very I was just saying this to it before. Not nice. It's not a lady like to have to bend up. At least it went beside the table and not totally under the table because yeah. So good news. This is the last Mercury retrograde we will have in 2021. It goes till October 17th. And then we're going from the retrograde perspective back to a direct alignment. So things go back to normal. Now, if you've been with me for a little bit, or even over the last couple of readings, you'll know I've been talking a little bit about the thinning of the veil, which isn't a new concept. This is just something that I've been trying to work with people with, because around, and I say around, so it depends on your sensitivity, around the 15th of October, that veil starts to thin. So we have that ability to gain more insight, and we can connect in with that higher vibrational support team. So it's going to be kind of a give, passing in the wind from one challenge to a different set of challenges. Because as Mercury goes into direct alignment and as the veil is thinning, we're using different sets of skills. So be very mindful of that. Yes, we'll go back into direct on the 17th. However, that veil has already started to progressively get thinner to its thinnest point, which is, of course, on Halloween. So, good times. Although I do have to say that last year we did have Mercury retrograde right during Halloween, right during the thinnest point of the veil, and it was a nightmare for many of us because there was interpersonal communication problems on top of being plowed in by information from the other side, or the other side slash higher vibration. And for those who are interested in learning more about that, I will be having a live session next Wednesday, so October 8th, I believe. Just one second, let me check the calendar. Yes, October 8th, where I will be talking about that thinning of the veil. I will talk about how you can channel and work with this energy, that skill set that you're wanting to start to tap into a bit. Never mind, we're going to start tapping into it now. So this is the Three of Pentacles. I love this card. It's really very much what I call the Triforce Perfecta. So you're working with yourself, you're working with your physical support team, and your higher vibrational support team. In cooperation, we're going to find that things, well, they don't get easier, but we're able to do more, get more done, experience more. We're not working as hard as what we normally would if we were trying to do something alone. Mercury retrograde is going to be strengthening those skills on all levels. Okay. When we are looking at a challenge, is it impossible? No, it's just harder than normal. So we are going to have to set intention. We're going to have to be very conscious of what we're saying, being accountable for that. We're going to need to be accountable for what we're hearing. One of the biggest tools I can share with my friends about communication is clarification. This is what I'm hearing you say. Am I off the rocker? It is Mercury retrograde. Flip side, making sure they hear what you say. You know what? We've been talking a long time. I just want to make sure that we didn't totally blow past stuff. What is it that you think I said? Or what is it that you're hearing me say? Checking in and working on that communication skill set. Many of us struggle with our throat chakra. It's been minimized, it's been challenged, it's been not loved. So what we're hearing and what we're saying may be two separate things. So slowing down and checking into it, giving our throat some love. Sounds crazy, I know. Things that may help are working with our crystals. I think that it's a really supportive tool that would help with this. So something for your throat chakra, right in front, like always. Lapis lazuli, beautiful crystal that can help with that. So having it on your person helps with that healing, helps with that connection. I do have a meditation that I brought out in December. It was a balancing meditation where we worked on the different chakras and aligned them. That would also help with that throat and making sure it's feeling really loved and cared for. Now, if you're new to my channel and aren't too sure what I'm talking about, first of all, welcome. Second, I've got lots of tools and supports for you. I've got 4 different playlists right now. One's a mindfulness playlist, and then I've got 3 meditative playlists. One of them is called Just You and Me, and that's where you're going to find that meditation I just spoke about around that chakra balancing, so that you're able to start to work with these tools and work with what you need. Now, my meditations and my mindfulness tools, they're all guided, they're all supported. Most importantly, they're all free. No strings attached. I don't, my channel's not monetized. Any adverts or stuff that pops up, that's totally YouTube and not me. So something for you to be able to start to work on some of these skills. Now, the next skill set, working with our high vibrational support team, super important. We all have the ability, yes, you heard me right, we all have the ability to channel high vibrational information, gain insight and wisdom. It's just many of us don't believe we can. I think it was Henry Ford who said, if you think you can, you're right. If you think you're wrong, you're right. Same mentality. We've been taught for so long that we can't do it, that only select people can do that. Well, that selection is everywhere. Some of us just have a talent for it, or we excel in it. And in some cases, especially with the newer generation, or even some of the younger YouTubers that are coming on, they've never shut down. They were never told to. Or they had a parent who was coming into their power a little bit and really starting to work with their light and were able to protect them so that they didn't see or hear or feel things that made them afraid. Because the majority of us have shut down due to fear, whether it be fear of prosecution or fear of what we experience. That fear can be a challenge. You're a bear, I won't lie. However, you can step past that. You can start to heal that, to work with your high vibrational support team and the amazing guides and supports that we have in the higher realms, with our astral family, with our past on loved ones. We're usually connected into our astral family. So over the next 3 weeks, yes, it's going to be a challenge to work with others. Absolutely. Like I said, you want to strengthen that speech and throat chakra, speech and the hearing through your throat. But you also want to start to work on your third eye and your crown, which are connected to your gifts and abilities to retain and receive information from the higher vibrational realm, also known the other side. So, ways I can help you with that. There is a wonderful archangel called Archangel Raziel who supports the majority of mankind to work with their abilities. I have a number of meditations with him to work on that gift, to work on our clairs. And clairs are just the tools that we need to work with the high vibrational beings and start to regain our abilities a bit. You're not an angel person, which I originally didn't think I was until I started to connect into my high vibrational support team. And then I realized actually I was. I was like, it's crazy. Why would you want to? But now I get it. It's not so much what type of high vibrational being you're working with. It's just that they're there and that we need to work with them, no matter what form they take. However, I do have some meditations on my Just You and Me playlist that would help out as well. That said, most meditations will help. You are slowing your system. You're intentionally giving you some time to be open to whatever needs to be shared with you. We don't take the time we need during the day to support us to get where we need to be the most. I should turn over more cards because I realize it's 15 minutes and I've had one card on the deck. Oh, such a beautiful card. Father of Pentacles, also known as King of Pentacles or Midas Touch himself. This cooperation, especially, so we're dealing with double pentacles here, guys, that grounded, stable energy is going to help you flourish in these connections and in abundance across the board. Prosperity can come in every aspect of self, including our clairs and our high vibrational connections. And that's really what the King of Pentacles or the Father of Pentacles is referring to. However, as we start to connect into this information and we start to work with our team, that's when those amazing aspects start to come forward. Hence, we're seeing that prosperity come forward. Like I said, Mercury retrograde, we have a tendency to connect into, oh my God, the computers are going to have problems. Oh my God, my relationships are going to have problems. And yes, at the same time, knowing that instead of going, oh my God, you can go, okay, so that's going to be a challenge. Let's work on the tools that we need right now to help us out so we don't get stuck at that point. We can step beyond it and start to see the beauty behind the chaos. And of course, we have this guy, the devil, the 15th card in the major arcana, our ego. Because our ego will get stuck in that, oh my God, it's Mercury retrograde. Oh my God, I can't believe they just said that. They hurt my feelings. So I'm going to tantrum. That's very much what your ego will do during Mercury retrograde, because that is a reactive response rather than a high vibrational frontal cortex, well thought out response. When I say well thought out response, you can say, wow, what I thought I just heard you say is this, just to get clarification. Because a lot of times when we clarify something that may have hurt us, people start to go, oh, no, that's not what I mean. Because again, they're in Mercury retrograde. So what they're trying to say may not be communicated well. Lots of miscommunication. But we stay here rather than reactive, we're going to have less problems and more ability to strengthen systems that we need for our greater good. And our ego, I won't lie, is usually at the core of a lot of our problems. Death, the 13th card in the major arcana, and it's a release card. Now, I like the fact that in this reading, so the two cards that hit the floor, because I said there was two of them, there were these two cards. So a lot of people fear death, they fear the devil, they fear the tower. These aren't cards to fear. There's really nothing to fear in them. They're talking about change. And really, that's what we're looking at fearing. These three bad boys of the tarot, they're not as bad. They kind of remind me of books that have been well worn. And people are like, oh, I don't want to read that. Look how gross the outside. It's all dirty and you don't want to get into it. But when you get into it, you realize why the cover looks like that. We need to be able to embrace shifting and changing. Most importantly, releasing. Because there are things that we're currently doing that are disconnecting us from our physical support team and our spiritual one. We need to start to release those things so that we don't keep redoing the same patterns over and over again. And that's what death talks about, is that transition from that challenge to something that is really prosperous. But again, we have to set those intentions. No one's going to do this for us. And even if they did, I know people are like, oh, that'd be great if they did. But really, would it? Because we're missing out on those learning opportunities. And then we don't own it as much. Oh, that was them, not me. So it's amazing how our ego, our devil, can really challenge us. Mm. The Mother of Cups, also known as the Queen of Cups, the second most intuitive card in the deck. How we started off with Three of Pentacles and ended with the Mother. That intuitive ability is going to be there. Like I said, we are going to be entering into the thinning of the veil right as we transition into the direct mode of Mercury. Well, that communication and connection, we're going to start with working on it now, weeks in advance, so that when it does start to thin, it's going to come in like a whoosh. And you're going to be like, oh, well, this isn't hard. Helping to strengthen your abilities, strengthen your skill set to help you, because we're all on different pathways. We all have different likes and dislikes. That's what makes us amazingly unique. Taking that time for you so that you can strengthen your abilities so you can get the most out for you. All right, let's get a little bit more insight into Mercury retrograde. What is going to support, or what can my friends expect throughout the next 3 weeks as we progress through Mercury retrograde? Taking a swan dive there. The Emperor, the fourth card in the major arcana. We've got some really stable masculine energies here, guys. We've got, of course, the Father or the King of Cups and the Emperor. Now, I said that the Mother of Cups or the Queen of Cups is the second most intuitive card. Of course, the most intuitive card is the High Priestess. The Mother of Cups or the Queen of Cups is the everyday personification of the High Priestess. The same is true with the Emperor and the Father of Pentacles. Actually, the Emperor goes in between a couple of the kings, but the King of Pentacles is one of his everyday personifications. We need this stable masculine energy to support us. Mercury retrograde is going to remind us of this constantly. So please take that in mind. When you're feeling unstable, take a few minutes to ground. In my short and sweet meditative playlist, those meditations are like 10 minutes max. I have a grounding meditation. You can use that meditation to your advantage. I think that one's like 8 minutes long, and you can ground yourself in 8 minutes. If you have the ability, any of my meditations, whether they say they're grounding or not, I've got stabilization ones, I've got grounding ones, all of them will have a component of grounding. Meditation is a great way to bring that center and stable energy within, and then you can use other tools to support you throughout your day. So, things. Tiger Iron, amazing support, will help you stay grounded. Any red or black crystal will support you. The reason I like this crystal so much, it has red jasper in it, and I think it's black tourmaline or jet in it. I have the list in my, I did a Crystal 101 session a couple months ago where we worked on and explored crystals. So, amazing supports. Other ways, what we drink and eat. A lot of people talk about herbalism. It doesn't need to be having a specific name or being scary. Adding things like a little bit of cinnamon or nutmeg to your coffee or your tea, depending on your tea, some of them might be a little bit funky with it, will help to soothe and ground you. Because they have that very grounded scent and that earthy nature to them. You don't have to go out and buy expensive blends. You can just add things to your coffee. If you have one of them fancy coffee machines, what you can do is use a little tea ball and put it in. And it's just a reusable tea ball. You can infuse your coffee. Again, setting intention. It's just using the tools that we have right around you to create that stability. We need that stability within us to create that foundation so that we can prosper, so that we can thrive and grow. Now, I did speak of her, like, what, 5 minutes ago. The High Priestess, of course, being the second card in the Major Arcana, she is a balancing card. She usually, if you think about the original card that Pamela Coleman Smith drew in the Rider Waite deck, you have this woman, she's in this kind of really funky white blue robe with this really weird kind of triple aspect hat, and she's sitting on a throne. Behind her is this like wild, weird kind of cloth, and she's just sitting there. The pillars on each side of that cloth, one is white, one is black. That balance, that stability. She is also, because we have pillars, a gateway card. Behind that really funky screen, and so if anybody's ever wondered what the heck is actually on there, they're pomegranates. And they don't really look like pomegranates that I know of pomegranates, but I usually see them as red. Red there. But anyway, so they're supposed to be pomegranates. Behind her is that knowledge that we're going to need and we're trying to work towards by using our clairs and by using our intuition. Really reinforcing that what we're looking at in this Mercury retrograde are some pretty big life shifts. They're not leaps of faith, that we don't have to worry about that kind of, jumping into the unknown. These are stable, very stable, lots of stability here. Shifts that are going to help you. We're looking at, taking on our ego. That's a battle we constantly do. We're looking at transitioning and shifting things that aren't working for us so that we can see some growth that will. We have a very stable and very balanced approach to this. So, hard to see, but the Emperor originally in most decks is a man sitting on some sort of throne. And then we have the High Priestess. Again, a woman sitting on a throne. We have the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine really supporting us, reminding us that that balance is needed to gain the knowledge to feel strong enough to move forward. So balanced, stable energy is going to be the name of the game throughout Mercury retrograde. I do have another meditation. As you can tell, I've got lots of supports, a lot of meditation, because meditation hits so many boxes with limited amount of stuff required from you guys. Because you just sit there and you listen and you breathe. You're opening yourself up. You're giving yourself that time. And the most I usually do is about 30-ish minutes for a meditation. I have a balancing energies meditation in my Just You and Me playlist that I did a couple months ago, where we're balancing out the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine within us, which really supports you in embracing what you can throughout Mercury retrograde. Because, that'd be what Mercury retrograde kind of feels like. The Ten of Swords. We feel impaled in every direction. It feels crazy and hectic. Now, the thing with the swords is that these are events and situations that have caused us pain or fear. They're not situations that brought us joy and happiness, because if they were, we'd be like, woo, let's keep going. No, these are the ones that really nail you to the cross. They're ones we really struggle with. The trick with the 10, though, is that if you look at the original card and many of the modifications and the beautifications of the deck as people have kept going since 1910 is that there's usually a sunrise in the background, reading that next day. No matter what heaviness and pain that we're feeling, we need to keep moving forward. It's, again, a choice that we need to make. To help lessen some of this, last week I brought out a meditation with Archangel Michael, actually, and Archangel Raphael. It's the first time I've ever teamed up with two archangels to do something in one meditation. It's a cord cutting meditation. And I've been working on this meditation for months with Archangel Michael. We're like, yeah, it's not the right time. Yeah, it's not working right. We'll put it on hold. We'll put it on hold. And then last week, or actually 2 weeks ago, it's just like, this is what we need to do. And we need Archangel Raphael in, and we need it to happen before Mercury retrograde. I'm like, okay, let's do this. So something to help lessen the hold, some of the historical pain, the energy drain that we're dealing with. And some of this stuff may be things that we're carrying from past lifetimes or stuff that we're carrying from this lifetime. Or, I should say, or stuff that's being passed on through through that genetic line, the historical familial trauma. It all adds up, guys. Cord cutting is amazing support and releasing some of that hold that we have and using death to our advantage. Cord cutting will siphon and sever that siphon for you. There's a lot of course, there's a lot of stuff more than that to it. It's can't think of the right word. Cord cutting is fantastic. I love it. It helps to give us a breath of pause, if you will. It gives us some reprieve from that burden we're carrying. However, if we start to obsess about a situation or event that happened, bringing in our ego, it will reconnect. Or if you're siphoning or severing a siphon from a person, if they connect in with you, you can reconnect them again. So it's not an end all be all. It's a great support to help us feel stronger until we can truly release that connection. And it might take some time and a few goes. And also, if it's a person that you're connected in with, that's in your family or connected to you somehow in other ways, thinking of past relationships, you guys have kids, it's about protecting yourself energetically so that this doesn't happen. And I'm working on it. I will get you guys a tool. I haven't, actually, 24 hours into the day. The 10 of Pentacles. We're looking at that stable, amazing growth, that connection to those healthy, positive people. Really reinforcing what I said about that relationship with others. We're going to see things grow. Now, we do have the multiple 10s that are literally side by side. In angel messages, when you have that multiple 10, the angels are telling you that this is a time of physical and spiritual growth. You're on the right track. Keep going. Which I know can be easier said than done sometimes, but to stay true to that path and take those steps, those baby steps forward. All right, let's go on to the challenge. How is Mercury retrograde going to challenge my friends over the next 3 weeks? Like I said, this is our last Mercury retrograde of the year, which is nice. Next year we will have 4 of them though, which can be a challenge. The Eight of Cups. It's literally these shattered cups are very predominant because we're looking at that resistance to going in and finding out what's in the dark, exploring self, working with what our skills and abilities we naturally have, that resistance and that fear. Because everybody is known that we have to be afraid of what's in the dark, that unknown. Again, our ego really screaming. Ace of Pentacles. Fearing what's at the heart of the matter and fearing how it's growing within. Gives another perspective and another visual to that fear of who it is we are and what it is we can do. We like to minimize us. We like to negatively self-talk. We like to talk ourselves out of some amazing, amazing opportunities. We're going to see that fast and furious over the next 3 weeks. We're not going to want to look at what can be. We'd rather just look at that very superficial, oh, I'm having problems with so-and-so because it's Mercury retrograde. We get caught up in that, we're never going to get anywhere. Mother of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles. We're not going to be compassionate to ourselves, really reinforcing that fact that negative self-talk is going to be there. We're not going to feel grounded or stable. We are not going to give ourselves a lick of support. We'd rather internalize and beat ourselves up. Helping with that instability and pretty much putting your head in the sand and going, yeah, I'm not going to face this. You can't make me. Now, we do have double queens. We have the sisters here. We have the Queen or the Mother of Cups and the Mother of Pentacles. They're the 13th card in the Minor Arcana. And actually, thinking about it, we also have Death, which is the 13th card in the Major Arcana, so it gives us 3. When you have that multiple 13, the angels are telling you that you need to quiet your mind so that you can receive the information from the higher vibration, which is very true. That's why Death is the 13th card. Pamela Coleman Smith and Arthur Waite did not beat up on the goddess because 13 is the number of the goddess. Hence why the queens or the mothers are the 13th card. We need to be listening to that higher vibration, that intuitional energy now more than ever. All right, let's see what else is going to help us. What will support my friends in embracing what Mercury retrograde can support them with and minimize the challenges that they're going to face during the next 3 weeks? Yep. New opportunities. Declutter your life. And I like how we have that heart center lit up on the person and the unicorn. That heart center needs to help to support us, not hinder us. We don't want to get caught up in the heartache and fear. We want to get caught up in that joy, that excitement, and that unconditional love, which can be a challenge. Additionally, we have a beautiful rainbow here. There is an archangel called Archangel Raziel, and he comes through in rainbows. That's his signature color, his auric color. Just like how Archangel Raphael is green, Archangel Raziel is rainbow. And he works with our clairs. He works with our intuitional energies. He'll help us reconnect into our skills that we've lost, help to strengthen them. I've got a number of meditations with him. Full of Christ light. Now, if you have been traumatized like I have regarding the Christian faith or the Catholic faith or any faith really, um, the one thing you should know, Christ light is the universal energy. I call it universal energy. Diana Cooper calls it Christ light. It's the same thing. It's a potato thing. If you ever have the honor of channeling Jesus, which you can do, it's a challenge, but you can do it. Um, or Mary, or actually any of the main players of the Bible, you will find out how disheartened and sad isn't even the right word. It it's just such a awful feeling that they start to convey about their dislike of how the Bible twisted things and how it comes across and is portrayed. Is Jesus a healer? Yes, he still is. He's an ascended master, as is Mother Mary. That healing energy is there. He was one of the first to be able to really channel that universal energy and use it for everyone's greater advantage and benefit. Him and Buddha. I couldn't tell you who came first, and it doesn't matter, but he was one of the first few. So it's that universal energy. Like I said, we're not going to want to give ourselves any love and compassion. However, we need to do that now more than ever. Not only having compassion for us, but compassion for others. Because as we're struggling during Mercury retrograde, so is the entirety of the world. It's a global event, not just a local thing. Absolutely. Magical crystal cave. Switch on your inner light. Goes right back to the Eight of Cups. We're not going to want to do it, but when we start, we're going to go, holy cow, because it's going to be such an altering life experience. Just like anything else. Sometimes we have great reservation, like, oh, I don't want to go out and work out. I know I'll feel better afterwards, but I don't want to do it. We get that inner toddler going. And that's really what we're looking at here. We're going to put our feet firm on the ground and want to put our head in the sand and go, no, I just want to avoid it. However, when we take those first steps forward, we're going to see how amazing not only we are, how amazing this experience is. I spoke this earlier. Uncord relationships. That meditation is probably like if you're on my page 2 or 3 down, it's an archangel team up. I brought it out on Tuesday of last week, and it's really, really necessary to help us feel less overwhelmed because it's person, place, things, events that are siphoning our energy, giving us a little bit of time to stand up and do what we really don't want to do. However, once we do, we're going to see that light come forward. We're going to see our abilities really strengthen, and we're going to get that aha. Now, don't worry, this is not something you have to do in one day. This is 3 weeks, guys. Take it a little bit here and there. That balance is important. We've got that balance in a number of places, but this is a very stable balance card. Even though it's 3, we can see that it's 3 that is in very stable formation. But that balance, like we have the king here, we've got the queen here. We need that balanced energy, and it needs to shine through. So taking it slow, slow and steady is the name of the game. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And I hope you have a better understanding of how you can use Mercury retrograde to your advantage. Sure, there's going to be challenges, but there's great growth when we're looking at challenging ourselves. This week, I will be posting another tool tomorrow. It's a mindfulness tool to help you really anchor yourself in the here and now and not get caught up in the what ifs and oh my gosh and that chaotic energy, helping you to bring yourself back to present. Friday, I will be back live to explore the following week, which is our full first week in August or October, not August. I'll go backwards in time in October so that you have a great idea of what to expect in the following week. Will some of these things come forward again? Absolutely, because this will cascade over the next 3 weeks. Knowing that you have a good idea of how you can use the next 3 weeks. I will always do my weekly reading so that you have that ability to see what the week brings and how you can start to implement these things throughout your week. So, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me again. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe because Mercury retrograde happens on random Mondays. Well, so do other things. I'm usually live twice a week. I usually post 3 times a week, so subscribing and hitting that red bell will help you stay connected onto what I have coming up forward. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. Until tomorrow, my friends.